Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art and Talk. If you're new to us, Art and Talk is an online interviewing platform for artists to share their art, their creativity, and their passion. We embrace all the arts, the traditional arts, and the spiritual arts to bring you diverse and quality interviews to watch and to be inspired by. Thank you so much for joining us today and being with us. I'm Leslie Sue, the host for Art and Talk. And today we have a guest who is a professional artist and she's also an intuitive. And we'll be exploring her beautiful magnetic geodes and finding the correlation between her intuitive gifts and also her artistic gifts. So again, thank you so much for being with us. I'd like to welcome our guest for today, Ro Ferrelli. Hi, Ro.
Hi.
Yeah, so good to have you here and explore your amazing and unique art as magnetic geodes, and then you combine them with your intuitive gifts to kind of help kind of complete and add to the process for your clients.
Yes, that's correct.
Mhm. Could you share with us how you even, began this journey with the magnetic geodes?
Sure. So I really started, 2 years ago. I was on Instagram, scrolling through, and I saw this gorgeous resin piece, and it was by another artist in Germany. And I was really inspired by her work. I actually reached out to her to purchase some of her work. It was around 8,000 euros. That's, not including shipping. So that's probably like 12 to 13,000 US dollars, which just wasn't in my budget. And I've always been an artist. It's always been like my zone of genius. But like everybody, I go through phases in life, and I just hadn't created any art in a really long time. And I was really inspired to start creating art again, just picking it back up. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to create a gorgeous piece for my living room. I have the same problem that I think a lot of people have, is where you have just like a big empty space, a big blank wall. And you're like, I want to put something meaningful here, something to really make a statement, something to really reflect like who I am. And I really felt like these geodes with the crystals was a perfect representation of that, because of the beautiful colors and the stones and the crystals and just like the energy of it. I just loved the whole concept. And so that's how I really got started doing them, was learning. I kind of geeked out and, started Excel spreadsheets and like had just whole like lists going of like supplies and techniques and, different types of resin to experiment with, different brands and whatnot. So that's really how I got started with the geodes.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just curious, Ro, prior to the geodes, you had said you've been engaged in art for most of your life. Were you doing like the traditional drawing and painting and sculpting? What kind of art were you engaged in?
Well, it's always just been little different things here and there. It was never resin. I'd never experienced or played with resin before, but I've drawn, I've painted, I've played with watercolor and oils and lots of acrylic mediums, very crafty. So any opportunity to craft or create something, I would do it. Yeah, I mean, I also, it's interesting because I look back and I'm like, wow, this has like been here for me this whole time and I didn't even realize it. But all through the years, I've really enjoyed gluing rocks and stones onto things to kind of create like a three-dimensional effect. And I used to take like fish bowls and jars and pretty much anything I could get my hands on, and I glue it like sea glass or pennies or something. Just I liked that 3D effect that the rocks give. And yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I can totally see that was like a major stepping stone to kind of like get you prepared to do these magnetic geodes with the crystals and all the different healing properties and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of your intuitive and I know you do a lot of coaching as well and whatnot. Now, were you doing that at the same time or before? Like, how did that get kind of intertwined with the art? Was it something you just kind of like were like, oh yeah, this would like work? And was it just an organic process? Can you share that with us?
Yeah, it really has been an organic process for me. I've been into coaching. I've really lost track, maybe like 7 or 8 years now. And I worked for a company for about 14 years, which I left earlier this year. And I was their on-staff coach, and I did personal development programs for the employees and employee enrichment and engagement and coaching for them. And then on the side, I've done coaching specifically for women that are, on a spiritual path, that are, going through life challenges, whether it's in a relationship or career. So I've done a lot of coaching around that too. Right now, though, I mean, I have a couple of coaching clients that are, repeat clients, but I'm really just trying to focus and go all in on my artwork just for the year. In 2022, I have some coaching ideas of programs that I'm going to be putting into play and maybe a possible retreat. I don't know. So yeah, the coaching is just, I've been a self-development junkie for like years. So, well over a decade of really intentional personal development growth work just for myself. And I'm also a Kundalini yogi. And so I've gone through lots of Kundalini yoga courses, certifications. When I was working for that company, and I went through actually a training program to bring a program into the company, and it was conscious leadership. And that's all kind of in line. So I feel like there's a reoccurring theme here. And it's just, right now I'm like really enjoying playing in my zone of genius, which is art. And, also my zone of genius is coaching too. But right now I'm just kind of focusing on the art, and then it's going to kind of weave, I believe, on its own,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Ro, how many other approximately artists are also working in this magnetic geode area, like within your circles? Could you just give us an idea of like how many?
Well, none within my circles. I'm pretty much an introvert kind of running solo. I don't have like a circle of other artists that I'm in contact with. Now I have a couple of people that I've followed on social media who I like and who I get inspired by. But if you look on Etsy or Instagram and you look at like resin art, like hashtag geode artwork, you'll see there's a lot of other artists that are creating this type of artwork too. It's just interesting because, first of all, the way it actually manifests, through each person is completely different. So, so once you find, like, so say you like this artwork, you love the concept of having a geode in your home, you can look and go through like the different artists of like, who do you really vibe with, like who are you just like, wow, that piece too, and that piece too, and then also the prices range, so there's some artists, like I mentioned, that you could easily spend $12,000 to $15,000 on a piece, and then there's some artists that you can pick up a piece. I think my cheapest piece right now is at $650, going all the way up to $5,000. So the ranges for each artist is also different too. So you just got to find somebody that you like and that that you can invest in and go from there. But there are quite a few other artists creating geodes also.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So, Ro, these pieces that I've seen are just beautiful, and you can just already look and get a really good feel, even if you're not directly in the space, for how they impact the space and create a sense of upliftment and healing and whatever the intentions that you set in it and for the client. Can you walk us through just a hypothetical scenario with a client? Like, for example, do they have a space in their living room or some other part of their home, and they send you a photograph and they say, okay, can you help us? Do they specify intentions that they want? Give us a few little scenarios of how this plays out.
Yeah, the fun part, right? So every client's a little different, but I would say most people have a space that they know that they want to put art in. Like they have a new office and they want, the back wall to be there, or in their home by their bar, or in their living room. Like they have a space. So most people typically have a space. Not everybody does, but the people who have a space, they send me a picture of the space and also just of the room. Like what are the other colors? What is the vibe like in there? And a lot of times they'll say, okay, I specifically want, a navy blue, or I like the one that you did, like this color, actually in this geode here that I have on my back wall. This was inspired from a geode I did a couple of years ago. They just saw something, they said, I want something like that, so they'll, put in, what they like as far as color wise for their space. And there's a couple of different styles that I do also. So like this one is a live edge. So you can kind of see around like the edging there. It almost kind of looks like it's a slice, like an agate, like a slice of a rock, right? And then there's some that are just square, right? So it's just like just a square, right? So I can do 3 panels, 2 panels, or 1 panel. And this is actually about 8 feet long. So if you can imagine, it's a really big, it's 8 by 4 feet. So it's really big. And so once we go through, we have a one-on-one call, and we go through all of those details, and they're ready. They put down a 50% deposit of whatever the price is. And then I give them the time range. And then what I do is I take all of my notes from that. I really tune in with my guides, my higher self, and I really just kind of like open up to what wants to be created through me for them, right? So then I will start to just get inspired by different images that will come in, certain colors. They've already kind of given me their colors, which I put on it's kind of like an RFP or an official document, like a PDF document of the colors that they've selected. I actually go in and get the hex codes and the pictures of their house, and I put it all together in kind of like a little vision board, so I can use that for inspiration through the creation process too. And then when I'm actually creating the art, I love music. So whatever I'm in the mood to listen to get the vibe high, I'm putting on some good music. Sometimes I'm just dancing in my space because it's so elevating to dance. And like, that's how I'm starting off the energy of creating. Now, as far as my spiritual guides, like coming in, sometimes they'll just kind of like tap me on the shoulder and just start working as I'm working in the middle of it. And then other times it's, I don't feel them so much, but it's like, I know that they're there and I feel like I'm being guided. Like I'll know where to draw the next line. I'll know what wants to be created because it's just in my head and it makes sense. So, I've already set the intention to create something through me for them, for their space. And, as far as like the intentions for the piece, because each art piece has an intention, and they're also named after really iconic, powerful women that are alive. Some are past, but like this piece behind me was named after Amelia Earhart. And the intention for this piece was courageous action, right? So sometimes I will come up with the idea on my own, but then other times it'll just really be known to me. Like, and I, so I don't really allow the client to give me their input on what they want it programmed with. It's, that's, I feel like really interfering with like what the universe wants for them in their space. And so, I'll connect with my spiritual guides, my higher self, the universe, and I can feel just like the energy coming out of like the palms of my hands. And so all of my crystals, I work with a couple of really great vendors, and they import these crystals from mines all over the world. Brazil, a lot of my stones come from Brazil and Madagascar. For some reason, those are just hot spots. And that's where a lot of my stones come from. They're all, they go in the full moon. So as soon as I get them, they're all in full moon energy, totally cleared. Sometimes if they need it, I'll put them in salt also. It just kind of, you can tell like, well, I can tell just by the vibe of the stone. But then once I'm working with it and before I send it on its way, I really do connect with my guides and just ask them to put light energy into the stones. And that is what makes the pieces so magnetic. I mean, people will just come out of the woodwork and be like, even the most unexpected people that I would have never expected to want a piece that I know in my own life that'll say, hey, I have to have one of your art pieces. And so yeah, that's pretty much the creation process.
Yeah, I love the process. It's so beautiful. And so these are really highly charged art pieces that happen to be the, magnetic crystal geodes. And I find this is so beautiful from your preparation that you go into before creating. You go into your higher self, as you were saying, and into some visualization, and you just kind of allow things to come through. And the client has, given you some a little bit of guideline to kind of take you through. And I could just see you dancing around your studio and putting music on. So it's really a joyous experience, you tapping into your joy, you tapping into yourself, and just allowing this process to come through and just allowing yourself to be guided and really taking such care from like really A to Z. You're sending it off and like really like blessing it to be in the home or office or whatever the space is going to be in.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right, because that's what it's all about. Is like, these art pieces are designed to be an enjoyable process for myself. Like I don't want to spend my whole day just, punching away at a computer. If I'm going to be doing something, I want to be enjoying it. And I do enjoy creating art. It's so much fun. And it's just so natural for me. I'm like a fish in water, but also early on, like, first of all, the name came to me, Magnetic Geodes. And I'm, always a little like pushy with my guides. I'm sure I pissed them off a lot because I don't always listen, but I was just like, Magnetic Geodes, and they were just like, go with it. And I didn't feel attached to creating this artwork. I was really doing it just for fun. I wasn't, at that point, I was not planning to have to leave a job of 14 years to really do this full time. I wasn't, so I was like, fine, Magnetic Geodes it is. Sounds fun, right? And so then I also just, in a meditation, I got the vision of just a grid around the earth, and that it was like an energy grid, and each point connecting from geode to geode. And it wasn't, it's not like it made sense or anything. It was just like all over. I don't know if you can, see that in your mind's eye of what that could look like. And then I also just kind of intuitively knew, and I think if you know anything about energy, you would know this, like in meditation, like I can just really, get clear and really send my energy and light to those pieces that I've already created. So it's almost like I can like recharge the energy of them in that space to keep it, an elevated space, and to amplify whatever intentions were originally set in the piece. And so, I take some time to do that. I try to do it at least once a month. And I've heard, from people, they're like, oh my gosh, like my pets are like laying next to your art. And, people will, just walk by a window and be like, oh my God, what is that? So I feel like it's kind of taking on its own like its own thing, you know?
Mhm.
So, and I'm just rolling with it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely take you on a life of its own. Let's show some of the pictures and have you elaborate if you would.
Yeah, sure.
All right, give me just a moment and let me pull them up. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So this piece was done recently for a good friend that's in New Jersey. She also was a past coaching client. And I've known her for years. She's been on an incredible healing journey. And so this piece is actually named Emmeline. And let's see if I can remember this correctly. Emmeline means house of peace. And I didn't know that. Like the name came to me and I was just like, what is that? And I just felt like I needed to look up the meaning behind it, and a house of peace, and that her house of peace is her body. And so like that, as she continues on her healing journey, she invites more peace into her house. And so that's what this piece represents. And it also has a lot of amethyst and crystal quartz on there too.
Mhm. It's just beautiful. And I love the healing intentions and the peace and just the whole organic feel and just kind of bringing that natural sense into, the interior environment is just, really beautiful. And each piece being so unique and infused, with all this high vibrational energy that's just like, emitted in the environment. And you can just feel it even looking at the photograph.
Yeah, that's what they say.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, so this is Stevie, and she's named after Stevie Nicks. And her intention was, and I don't know, can you cuss on this show? Is that okay? Okay, so her intention, like her quote on the back of this piece is, "You're a fucking badass." And I just felt like that badass Stevie Nicks energy. And I was listening to Stevie Nicks a lot when I was creating the piece, and really tuning into like the words of some of her songs and her themes. And I just loved it. And this client was very specific about the colors that she wanted. And, to be honest with you, I did not know what this piece was going to look like. In fact, when she gave me the colors, I was like, what? Like, I couldn't, in my logical thinking mind, I'm thinking, those colors don't go together. And so I really had to get out of the way with my logical thinking and allow that creative force to come through and make what wanted to be made for this client's home. And this is an 8x4. So it's actually, it's really hard to tell, how big these pieces are, but 8 feet is quite the length there.
Right, right. Yeah, that's on a very, very large scale. And
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I love how you name them after a woman, and there it is the whole process that you've been explaining is such like beautiful purpose, built within it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like art should have a story behind it. It should have something to say, and it should inspire the people daily in their homes. And that's what this is about. Anytime we're trying to make a positive change in our life, it comes with repetition, it comes with that consistency, it comes with those daily affirmations. And this is just one way to help reprogram yourself. Like, yes, like, I am a fucking badass. Yeah, I'm going to go on my day. See you later, Stevie. Like, and this is actually right by her front door, so she can do that. And, and the last one that we were looking at with Emmeline, it was just like, you know what? I'm on my healing journey. I am bringing peace into my home. Like, that's what needed to be there for that person, and yeah, I mean, I think that's what makes this art so miraculous. And I want to point out here, there's probably 15 to 17 pounds of citrine and quartz. So that top right-hand corner is all raw citrine,
Oh, wow.
which is known for like prosperity, abundance, and success. And then, you know, you see like, I don't think you can see my arrow, but also in the top right, and then down on the white area, you'll see little pockets of those are all citrine and quartz too, and they're pretty big. They're you know, about the size of a easily a palm of your hand. I mean, they're pretty big. You know, some get like 6 to 7 inches in length
Wow.
of a quartz points. Yeah, they're pretty big.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that really adds a whole new dimension to the piece as well. And so these are really, Ro, like in a way, a visual representation or symbol of the sort of consciousness expansion that the client wants to kind of vibe with, whether it's, the healing or, being a badass, I guess that sense of like, confidence and empowerment. So that, are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at a few more. Okay.
Yeah, so this piece, let me think. So this piece is actually for sale right now. It's at the Banyan House, which is a crystal shop, and they have a small spiritual center above, and they are in Dania Beach, Florida. And I have 2 pieces there right now. I'm trying to think of the name of this piece. I can't remember it off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't remember the whole story behind this one, but I think she's gorgeous. The copper around her is just like one of my favorite things to play with right now, particularly because of this piece. I wish I could remember the name of her, but it's all on my website. So if you just look on the website, she's right there on the front page. So you can find all the details about her. But yeah, I love the turquoises and the blues, and with the copper, like such natural, beautiful elements. And yeah, I love it.
And I also like how in the center is open, so the color of the wall is actually coming through. That kind of creates a different dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with these geodes, is that you can do all shapes and sizes. I mean, it's rocks, right? So there's infinite styles and shapes of rocks, and it's art. So it's infinite possibilities here too. And I want to create some pieces similar to this, maybe a little bit bigger, to use as mirrors, and to put a mirror behind there. So it could be used for like a vanity, or at the end of a hallway, or by a front door, check your makeup, or maybe just look into the mirror and say your positive affirmations for the day, something like that. So I have some plans to be doing that with a few pieces coming up too.
Yeah, that's a great expansion idea, Ro, to kind of keep this theme, but kind of give it a whole different kind of, it's on the wall, but yet it kind of has a purpose. If it's like,
it's functional, it has a purpose. Exactly right. Yeah.
All right, we have a few more to look at. Okay.
Yeah, so this is Amelia, and Amelia, I mentioned earlier on the call already, she's named after Amelia Earhart. This client had seen a previous piece that I'd done on a much smaller scale using this color board, and she said, I just love those colors, but I need something a lot bigger. She just moved into a new office, and she's the CEO of a local company in Pembroke Pines. And so this piece will be all behind her in her office suite.
Yeah, so beautiful.
Yeah.
Do we have a photographer who took these amazing images that we need to give credit to?
That would be me.
Oh, wow.
That would be me. So yeah, these are stock photos.
Okay.
And, you know, because not everybody's space is photographable. You know, it's not photogenic, you know, and also I don't need to be in everybody's space, you know, it's just too much. So I allow them to just, you know, have it in their space. Sometimes clients will post their pictures online. The hashtag is Magnetic Geodes, plural. And so you can search that on Instagram and see my my posts that I've done with that hashtag. And then sometimes clients will use that hashtag too. So you can see actually in their space what it looks like. But I figured, you know, I just feel like the stock photos, it really shows what we're creating here in a very nice, clean environment.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right, Ro, I think we have just one more. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So this piece, her name is Layla. She's also for sale right now. And she's at the Banyan House too. So it's this piece and the other piece, the blue, the turquoise and copper piece. These two pieces are at the Banyan House in Dania. And yeah, so she is programmed with the intention of power and specifically not just, you know, being a powerful person, but, you know, you really step into your power when you are decisive and you make a decision and you stick to your guns. And I feel like a lot of times we're indecisive, we don't know what to do, we're scared, fear of missing out, don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, don't want to leave somebody out, and we don't really move forward. We're just kind of like stuck in this little, you know, merry-go-round over here. And so one way to step into your power is to be decisive, to make decisions, and to feel confident in the decisions that you're making. And so that's what this piece is representing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to really have that sense of clarity. That was so well expressed, Ro. And how beautiful is that, you know, to have that intention just pouring out, you know, into your environment, and just that kind of like visual reminder, even like at, you know, like at a subconscious level as well, you know, like you're going in and out the door, you know, back and forth through the space, you know, you're still receiving that energy and that, like, you know, amping up of that vibration.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
I'm wondering, Ro, with your magnetic geodes, have you had any male clients?
I actually have a male client right now. I've had a couple. So I have somebody I'm creating a piece for right now. It's going to be an ocean and forest theme. And so he's looking for like dark greens. I think of like the redwoods in like Northern California, or, you know, over by like that Oregon area where it's, you know, the ocean meets the forest. And so like, you know, our dark, deep sea blues with some greens. And then also, you know, the dark browns, you know, just the deep browns. I want to use some coppers in there too. And so it's just going to be a beautiful blend. And that's the piece I'm working on right now. So that is for a man's office. And I have another client's a husband and wife. I mean, I've done a lot of like things for people's homes, you know, so husband and wives, they come together. They'll both be on the consultation call and we talk about what you know, what's coming alive for everybody here, you know, what do you want? What do you want? Let's see what we can co-create. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, one of the reasons I was wondering, Ro, is if you have a male client and then you name the piece, which of course corresponds to the energy and the intention that's in it, would you still use a you know, like a well-known female figure, or would that change to, you know, being more of a male figure, or how would that play out?
Yeah. So it can still be a masculine piece, but with a feminine name. And if you think of women in general, and men too, I mean, we all have like a part of us that's masculine and a part of us that's more feminine. And I think with men too. And with magnetic geodes, I really just feel called to like amplify women over time. And now I feel like powerful women are needed in every house and every workplace and in every government and in politics and in schools and everywhere. I even really feel like right now we are coming out of that Piscean age and we're stepping into the age of Aquarius. And it's really women who are embracing their feminine and masculine sides, and who are really just connected in however they are. They may not think they're on a spiritual path, but they can still be deeply connected and just be so natural and intuitive for them. But we're needing that energy. And so I just want to celebrate that right now. And I feel really called to stay with the women's names. And, so what if you have a guy that, he's like, yeah, this is, this is Joan, this is, Joan of Arc, this is Stevie. Those are both in houses where, men live, and I don't think it's a big deal. Isn't she beautiful? Yeah.
Absolutely. What I found interesting also in your bio that you sent me, Ro, is that when the piece is complete, it's certainly it's a visual acuity, a visual connection, but you also mentioned that by and large the piece is complete by feel. So it's just sort of like everything from the beginning of the creation process, your preparation and going through all the different stages of it. At the end, it's like you just get that, like, okay,
that's a really important piece. Actually, I don't talk about it a lot, but I have like this inner persona that's a perfectionist. I'm also a Virgo. So I like to work on things until, I can work on them forever. I can always find something that needs to be fixed or something that could be better or how I would do it different next time. Like there's always that aspect of my personality. And so I really have to surrender when the art starts telling me like, okay, there's enough done here. So it just kind of talks to me. It's just, I don't know it's not like it's physically talking to me. It's just like in my mind, in my heart, I can just feel, I'm like, okay, it's done. Even though I would like to do an extra clear coat, or even though I could add this here. And it's just like, when I really tune in and pay attention, it's just a clear no. And I just have to honor that. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So your guides step in and they're like, okay, this piece is now.
I'm not sure. Yeah. It's not always my guides. It's really just like my soul is like, yeah, stop. So, yeah.
I'm wondering if there are any situations as you're like connecting in with your higher self and creating these magnetic geodes. You expressed one of them where the client had particular colors and you kind of felt like, well, I'm not really sure if those really work, but yet you just kind of surrendered to it and just allowed the process, to continue. But were there any other experiences that you've had thus far that were like, just like a real surprise where your higher self came in and it was just sort of like unexpected and you were like, oh, wow, okay.
Well, yeah, I feel like that happened with Stevie and the yellow and blue piece, because there was, when I'm in a consult with a client, I, like I said, I pull up like the actual hex codes. So I want to know like the color code, because you might say, oh, I want a sunset, but like there's so many different colors of sunsets. There's pink sunsets, red sunsets, orange sunsets, yellow sunsets, dark blue sunsets, so it's like, I want us to be on the same page, right? I don't want to come out with something purple when you're expecting orange, I don't want any surprises like that, unless that's what you want. And you're just fully like, I want you to create whatever wants to be created. We can run that route too. I don't always find a lot of people that will just do that. I love it when they do though. It's always a lot of fun. But with Stevie, I felt it was that way. I had a hard time like wrapping my mind around, okay, bright yellow, like sunshine yellow, navy blues, faded blues, light blues, grays and browns. Like I just couldn't bring those colors in together here. I had to, be big. It was a bigger vision than that,
Right. Ro, we still have a few minutes before we have to
Sure.
wrap up the show. Is there anything that we have not touched upon about your geodes, the process, the creation, anything that you'd like to share with us?
You know, I don't think so as far as the process. I think if I were to just leave like some advice to anybody who's watching this who may want to start creating these geodes, or they want to create their own art, and it's like, it's you have everything that you need. Just get started in some way and give yourself permission to kind of like mentally get out of the way and see what wants to be created through you. And in fact, I ask God a lot before I'm creating, while I'm creating, starting for the day creating, what wants to be created through me, right? Because it's not about what I want, it's what wants to be created through me that's going to make a way bigger impact than what I think is, I'm not saying that I don't have any part in it. I definitely do. It's really a co-created effort. But I think what makes them so special is that it's like that divine creativity, that's flowing. The art, it's creating art. This is what all artists are mediums. Really, we all are mediums on some way. Not everybody realizes it, but artists, that's what it is. It's, the divine moving through you, and just ask what wants to be created and get started with what you have.
Mhm. I love that. That's great advice to kind of wrap the show up, and that's a really beautiful distinction, Ro, as opposed to just starting an art piece. Maybe doing some standard, preparation for it, as opposed to what wants to be created through me, and just accessing that area of the divine and the higher self. That is a huge, huge, area of distinction.
Yeah, because it's all in the intention, right? And anything that we do, it's what's my intention behind this conversation? What's my intention behind my business? What's my intention behind this art piece? What's my intention? You have a difficult conversation to have. What kind of outcome do you want? Really setting the tone before you step into speak, create, work, live,
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can completely see why you're a successful and loving, compassionate coach. I think you just gave us a great example of that. So we really got to see all these different aspects of you working
Thank you.
together. Yeah. So Ro, as we wrap the show up, let us know how we can stay connected with you. So someone could contact you for one of the geodes, or perhaps a coaching session and whatnot, or just, connect with you on Facebook.
Yeah. So, I'm on all the mainstream places, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, but mostly I would say find me on Instagram. I'm on there pretty much daily, sometimes several times a day. I also do a lot of stories and reels, and you can see some behind the scenes. And that's my handle is at Ro Ferrelli. So I actually have it here. Oh, other side. There we go. So at Ro Ferrelli, and the website to the geodes is magneticgeodes.com. And also in my Instagram profile, there's always a link to like my link tree. So you can sign up for my newsletter, you can sign up, or you can just view any of my websites that I have. I have a couple websites up there. So you can check those out.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much for being our guest artist today, and sharing your magnetic geodes and the whole process, which is just really beautiful, tapping into that higher dimension and bringing it into your art piece, and with purpose, for your client. What a beautiful service, that you're providing, and then also, sharing how that, that process, unfolds for you, and whatnot. Much success, Ro, with this and with your coaching. And
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
welcome. Thanks so much, Ro. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching Art and Talk today. And you can stay connected with us on our YouTube channel, on Facebook, and on Twitter. We appreciate your support. Thank you again, and we'll talk soon on the next Art and Talk. Until then, be well and be blessed.